Has the thought of opening up your own tech repair shop ever crossed your mind? If you have, I have definitely felt the same way too, and I enjoy tinkering with electronic devices, so this game, in my opinion, was made for me. This game does take you back to the mid-2000s in Tokyo, where you're building up your very own tech repair shop from the ground up. Your job is simple, and that's to repair devices that come in and get paid for the repairs. Repairs can be sometimes as easy as cleaning up the device, or as difficult as having to replace broken parts. However, just like in real life, you will not have access to readily available parts to make the repair. So what do you do then? This cozy game is called ReStory Chill Electronics Repair. While the game is not yet fully released, there is a free-to-play demo available on Steam with roughly an hour of main gameplay available. And while the main story available in the demo is only about an hour long, you kind of do have the ability to continue playing right after then, potentially getting you even 5, 10, or even 1,000 hours if you'd like, if you're super passionate about the game, of course. I also found out some amazing news today, so you might not actually have to spend that 1,000 hours of gameplay in the demo. And that is that the game is set to be released on August 6th, which is less than 2 weeks away from now. Now, as for the story, it's not very extensive as the game does mainly focus on making repairs, but also because this is only the demo, so I'm not entirely sure how condensed they made the story in the demo. You are the new owner of an existing repair shop, or you specialize in restoring electronic devices such as cell phones, video game consoles, and other nostalgic devices. Through a small bit of the game story, some of the customers that come in, like your upstairs neighbor, the Bucket, who you'll see here in just a little bit, or even right now, there was someone else who did manage the repair shop before you, so you do have to kind of live up to their own reputation, since I feel like everyone talks so highly about them. You may not have all the skills required to fix everything from the start, but as you repair more items, you slowly start building enough funds to get proper certifications. You also do need to make sure that you have enough to cover rent and any other utilities such as the internet. And you can pick up to an astonishing amount of speed of 1 megabit per second. That's just, I don't even know what to do with that much internet, to be honest. At least that's the option that you decide to go to. You have 3 options, and the 1 megabit is the fastest. Now, this is deviating a little bit too much from the game story and getting too much into the gameplay portion, so let's go ahead and get into the gameplay. I initially thought that this would be a little bit more story driven and only a handful of devices that you would actually be able to repair, but it was the opposite, and I think I'm happy about that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, some devices do require a certification, and that does cost extra money, so the initial few devices that you can repair are going to be simple ones, or maybe, yeah, I mean, I guess they'd be simple ones, right? They were pretty easy to take apart and put back together. But just like with real devices, you also do need parts to make repairs. This sometimes requires you to go on the internet and buy non-functioning devices so that you can use them for parts. However, when you are purchasing parts or devices on the internet, you don't exactly know what's going to be functioning or what part is going to be functioning and if it's going to be used for your exact repair at the moment. So it's a little bit risky, but the more you play, the more inventory you kind of build up of parts. So there's a plus to it. Oh, and the computer that you can access to purchase your devices for repairs can also be used to take online orders, purchasing tools such as electronic screwdrivers, air dusters for cleaning up faster, and also keeping up with your store ratings. And the higher your store ratings are, the better, because you get double the tip. I thought it's a little bit weird that tip was actually included as part of payment, because if I'm not mistaken, tipping culture is not really a thing in Japan, and it's kind of frowned upon. So that was a little weird. I'm now realizing that. Now, every day the local delivery man does drop off and pick up any orders from you, but there is a day and night cycle, so don't expect anything to be picked up at odd hours of the day. If I'm not mistaken, he does stop picking up and delivering things right around midnight up until 8 a.m. the next morning. The game also mentions that at midnight you should close up shop. I've never left the shop open during those hours, so I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen. Maybe I should give it a try, but maybe on second thought, I'll leave that up to you. Please let me know if anything bad happens. Now, that's gonna essentially do it for the main mechanics of this game, and In my opinion, it does get a little bit repetitive, but I can only assume that the repetitiveness doesn't really sink into the game until way further into it, on the full version at least. So I'm a firm believer that nothing is ever perfect. So of course I do kind of want to talk about some of my personal constructive criticism on ReStory. Just in case the dev team behind the game is watching, I do also encourage you to leave your own feedback, or play the game and then come back and leave your feedback. You never know. It could be beneficial for the team as well. The further I progressed, I noticed that I was buying more and more devices to be used for repairs because I wasn't getting the right or the proper parts needed for repair, so I had to buy more and more devices. And the one thing that I did notice is that I did lose track of what I did have in my inventory. So I do think the inventory system could use a little revamping, such as instead of making it the inventory cells that it is now, make it a list and have just like how much of each part you have listed right next to it. While I do think that this feedback is beneficial to the game, this might only be my own personal gripe with the inventory system, and maybe it just doesn't entirely fit the game's overall theme, so I kind of get that. But another thing that I do want to mention is that purchasing from Pakuten can feel a little bit more engaging too. Since you're not entirely sure what the problem is with the device that you're purchasing, you're only really given a small amount of detail. It would be nice to have the ability to negotiate the price down, just like you would in any marketplace. I would also like to see the option to refresh the listings, because from what I experience, I believe it only refreshes every day. And sometimes I do need parts for a certain device that's just not listed on there. And sometimes there's also things that are listed that are really expensive, and maybe a dynamic pricing option. So if it's there for multiple days, it gets lowered or drops in price. For example, there was a PSP that was 23,000 yen, and I think resells for like 24,000 yen once it's repaired. It would be nice if, it lowered in price, because it's very close to what, you can resell it for. Now, earlier I did kind of mention an issue with the repetitiveness, but like I said, I don't want to fault the game for it right now because it's not the full game. It's just a demo, so I'm not going to really get too much into that. Now, my final thoughts is that I stumbled upon this game by accident, and honestly, I'm really glad that I did, because I enjoy tinkering with electronics, and if you do too, this game is definitely for you. There's some flaws, but the dev team does seem receptive to feedback. Now, the final question is, would you play it? It's a chill game where you run your own repair shop business in Tokyo, and I would highly recommend this game. At the very least, try out the demo because it is free. And if you want to find out more information, go ahead and head to their Steam page. Like I said, they're going to be launching on August 6th, which is a couple weeks away from now. If you played ReStory, I want to hear your thoughts on the game. If there's any other game you think I should play or that should be highlighted, please let me know. I'm open to anything.